What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode and edition of the Fight Factory podcast right here on Premier Wrestling's YouTube, powered, of course, by Absolute Eyewear in Woodbridge, New Jersey, and, of course, MadCatBeardCare.com. You see all this, the majestic glow of this beard right now? Well, if you put in Premier right now, you can get 15% off of your entire order at MadCatBeardCare.com. And, of course, I'm broadcasting, I'll get to that in a second, I'm broadcasting live from the Richard Lucas Chevrolet and Subaru studio right here in Matawan, New Jersey. I hope everybody's doing well out there. I am Dave Sturcio. What you don't see is my compadres, my boys, Chris Payne and Tommy D, both absent today. That is atrocious. That is just despicable. That's unexplainable. I don't want to hear any more excuses. No, listen, life happens. Some people get stuck. Chris Payne actually adjusted his schedule for what I'm about to talk about to make sure he was at a specific meeting that we had this weekend for Fight Factory Wrestling. And, of course, Tommy D, there's no excuse for that bum not to be here. But I hope everybody's doing okay out there. It's been a heck of a week for Fight Factory Wrestling and this podcast because today is actually a very special day because we actually, how many times can I say actually in the first 10 minutes? I don't know. Take a shot every time. You're dead. We have a special in-studio guest to promote the return to Rawway for WrestlePro this week. I'm back on the call with Josh Chernoff at Rawway, the rec center, the real mecca. Okay, anybody who else calls the other place up in, I don't even know what town it is, but you can't call some place the mecca because everybody and their sister runs there. That's just not how it works. It's actually just because it's a cheap building, I guess, and they're looking to fill a schedule. And look, shout out to the companies that do run there. I'm sure they're very profitable and bravo and all that shit. But the real mecca of independent wrestling, specifically in New Jersey, is the Rawway Rec Center. Get down there this Saturday night. We are back on Saturday nights, which, again, I'm excited about because it's been a while since we're, A, been in Rawway, B, been on a Saturday night. So I'm very excited about that. And our special in-studio guest today is none other than look, there's so many ways to describe this guy. He is one of the better talents on not only the WrestlePro roster, but in independent wrestling going right now. I'm talking about the ace of space himself. LSG will be joining me here to promote his upcoming big match with the WrestlePro Silver Champion, the most miserable man on the friggin' planet at this point, Sean Donovan. He'll be in here. Not Donovan. LSG will be in here to promote that. But before we get there, we got to go through what we went through this weekend. And let me tell you something. I thought I was never the popular kid in high school. I wasn't. I had my close niche group of friends. They were real tight. Like I wasn't rocking the varsity jackets. I wasn't part of that gang. So I was never really the guy that was, got the most attention, really. I was the life of every party, don't get me wrong. But I didn't warrant that kind of attention. The attention I've gotten the last couple days from every independent wrestler under the sun has been pretty interesting. Listen, Fight Factory Wrestling, we were teasing it. We said that we have those 2 showcase matches that are going to go down at ISPW on March the 22nd. Very excited about that. We have Chris Steeler and Victor Benjamin. And, of course, on the women's side of things, we got Lady Frost, Kayla Sparks, which, again, I have talked to all 4 competitors. Kayla Sparks at length. Obviously, I've talked to Victor Benjamin. I'm not supposed to talk. He hates you. Yeah, well, guess what? I'm breaking that 4th wall. And I've talked to Chris Steeler, who's very appreciative of this opportunity. So we're excited to start building this roster out a little bit. So clearly, the first 4 people that you see on the Fight Factory Wrestling at ISPW, those guys, I'm going to try to build something around these guys and girls because I think that loyalty is big in this business. I've been in this business since 2012. So if you don't know that, now you know. And if you need a history lesson, go back and listen to former podcasts or my spots on different things or whatever the case may be. I've been in this business for a long time. So I've been in ring from 2012 to 2016. Missed a lot of 2014 with the torn ACL. And then I segued into the broadcasting realm of things. And now I've ventured into something that I wasn't really thinking that I was going to do. I always had aspirations to book a card. Just like, hey, I think I can book this better. Or I think I can this story would be better if I did it this way. And I really never got that chance. And I'm not saying that nobody gave me the creative freedom, but when you're in the role that you're in, like I've been with WrestlePro since the inception, and there's been times where I've gotten to pitch ideas. There's been times that I've gotten to see the inner workings of what goes on behind the scenes, whether it be Pat or Kevin or anything like that. And I learned a lot. I've learned a lot from those guys. I've learned the ins and outs of coming up with ideas for matches via Dan Moth, via Sean Donovan, via Justin Carino. The guys that have been Uncle Mo, Mario Baccara. He's been around Falaba before he went off the reservation with his new character. But I've picked their brains for years, and I think that finally coming up with Fight Factory Wrestling with Chris Payne, with Tommy D, with the help and the promotion and the resources from Premier Wrestling and the resources from ISPW owner Tommy Fierro, I think that there's something brewing here. And when we first sat down just to discuss this idea in general of having a promotion, we actually started thinking about a one-off first, like a one show, hey, let's do this, and then let's go back to our normal lives. But we started to realize that we were in this for the long game. And I think that, again, I want to double down and say that we're not here to take over. We're not here to step on toes. We're not here to be this alternative that all of a sudden people just start leaving their home bases and say, I'd rather work for No, it's a promotion. It's a New Jersey-based independent wrestling promotion, just like your WrestlePro, just like your House of Glory in New York, just like other places in New Jersey. There's just off the top of my head, there is SWF. I say that because I've known Rob Fury for a long time. There is ISPW. Fierro's been running promotions since he was 16, and he just released the information the other day that he could possibly be a star on a 30 for 30, right? So like New Jersey wrestling has always been very, very prominent, and we just wanted to kind of dip our toes in that water, and the proverbial water and the actual water is now the Jersey Shore. So look, I can't take responsibility for the idea overall. I will give that to Officer Chris Payne. Chris Payne's been aspiring to do something like this for like a decade, right? And he's said this to me time and time again. Chris Payne, when he was an active wrestler, and I was obviously on commentary and active wrestling, me and him have done battles, right? But I've known Chris Payne for a long time, and me and him, he's like my best friend in professional wrestling, right? And he's had this idea, and I've heard this idea. Much like when Kevin Matthews first came up to me with the idea that he wanted to run a show in Alaska, I was like, yeah, you're out of your fucking mind. Like, then nobody's going to, and like, the moron me was like, nobody's going to travel out there. Like, but hey, guess what? There's actually people that live out there, not just Eskimos, right? So, like, when Kevin came up to me, I was like, you're crazy. Lo and behold, WrestlePro Alaska's born, and they're about to embark on their 5-year anniversary, which I wasn't booked for, oddly enough. No, but I was there for their 3-year anniversary. I was there for the first show. It's awesome. But like Chris Payne had this idea of running this Bash at the Beach type show. He was denied. He was denied by former owners of this said place. He was denied by pretty much anybody he could talk to. But in this regard, he had the idea. We ran with the idea, and it's official. The War on the Shore will go down on Tuesday night. Now, I'm sure there's going to be people out there saying, well, Tuesday, what is that? Like, can't do it on a weekend like normal people? No, we're not normal. We're different, right? We want to do it on a Tuesday night, okay? The Jersey Shore is, how do the kids say it now? Popping? Do people still say that? The Jersey Shore is popping every night of the week. Tiki Mondays is the biggest thing that Tiki Bar and Bartels has ever done, right? So how about a Tiki Tuesday, right? How about a War on the Shore event on a Tuesday night, July the 16th, 2024. It's going down in just 4 months' time from now. It's going to fly. The headliner can't really get too much into that because we're in negotiation right now, but we have some big ideas. Now, the War on the Shore is officially happening. We're already working with Eventbrite right now to get tickets on sale. It's going to be really, really cool. And, of course, the first of its kind. Now, I will say, and I'm not one to bash anybody's line of work, body of work, or anything like that. We have our eyes set on certain people that we want, right? I've been hit up by a lot of people. And I know, look, when I was first coming up in wrestling, I know how I thought about myself. I thought my shit didn't stink. I thought I was the next big thing. I thought I was going to be headlining WrestleMania one day, right? A lot of these guys that have hit me up might not see what other promoters or other people might see. Basically, what I'm saying is we're not going to book anybody who got their singlet from Sports Authority, right? Like, we want to make sure that everybody that you see that comes through that curtain and walks onto the sand of the beaches of New Jersey looks the part, has a following, has a story to tell, has in-ring ability, has the ability to grab the mic and do and say whatever he or she wants. We're not going to ignore anybody. There has been a nice influx of DMs, right? And I'm not going to ignore anybody. I'm going to acknowledge, all right? I'm going to acknowledge that your message has been received. We thank you for the inquiry, and we'll get back to you, right? Like, I don't want to be this nitpicky and, like, book all your friends guy. I'm not that guy, and we're not those guys, right? We're not going to be like, well, how can this guy get booked and not me, right? Like, I understand that this event is going to be one of a kind. It's going to be the first of its kind, right? And we can't book everybody. We're only looking at a card of probably 7, maybe 8 matches. I don't want one of these 10, 11, 12 matches with a student ticket seller, pusher, battle royal. It ain't going to be that way, right? This is the Fight Factory. Like, we want to make sure that everybody that walks through that curtain, the people in the crowd are like, that guy or girl looks like they can do some work. They can take a head off. They can just, completely steal the show. And I think just based off the first 4 people that we've already announced for the showcase matches, I think that we're already in that realm. Victor Benjamin looks like he can take a head off with one roundhouse kick. Chris Steeler's been doing this for 21 years now, okay? And every time I've ever seen Chris Steeler do work, I've always been wowed. I've been like, this guy can go. And I think Steeler's problem is that his confidence was never high on himself. And this is not something that I haven't talked to him about. We're good friends. There are people like that. There are people that are complacent, and they won't even accept the fact that they're very, very good at what they do. I tried to pull somebody out of retirement. Won't say names. Retirement, like the retirement was never announced per se, but like somebody who kind of faded away, but I thought was one of the best going on the indies. And they might not feel that way. So all of a sudden, they don't want to, and kudos to them for saying, listen, I haven't been doing this for about a year. I wouldn't be able to deliver a high quality match that you're looking for, right? So kudos to them for at least admitting that. But there are going to be people that that are friends of mine, right? And it's not a friend's business where I'm just going to book all my friends, because guess what? There's a budget for this, right? And we're still in the process of ironing out that budget and talking about, sponsors. And that's a big thing that we need right now. If you do own a small business or big business, whatever it is, and you would like to be a part of this show in that capacity and sponsor the show and possibly have your name on the canvas or the apron or different giveaways. We're going to be doing beach balls and all this, like all the beach vibe shit. And you want your logo, your company's logo, to be a part of the Fight Factory Wrestling first show, come talk to me, right? But when it comes to talent and it comes to guys that we're booking out, we're brand new, right? And our pockets aren't lined with $100 bills that are just like, here, you go, and you go, and you go. We got to make this a smart decision, right? And I'm not going to speak for the other two, but, we're not billionaires. We're not on par with anybody yet because we haven't put on a first show. But what I will say is, when it comes to talent and promoter relations, we're going to be top notch. Everybody that works for me and works for Chris and works for Tommy are going to be respected, and there's going to be a mutual friendship and business relationship developed, because I firmly believe in that. There's been too many super talented guys that have faded away into the sunset because of the promoters that they've worked for, or the people that are in the business, or, it's shady and this, that, and the third, and this guy stinks, and this one's hitting on me, and this one, all that shit. The politics of pro wrestling, those are dead at the door at Fight Factory Wrestling. Dead. Like, they're not, there's no such thing as politics in this. There is 3 minds, including Josh Chernoff, which is behind the scenes, and Tommy Fierro behind the scenes. These guys are going to be helping with creative and with the decision-making of who should be booked in what spot and what match. And, like, we're going to do all that. We're going to do the same thing that every other promoter does. Time out a show, make sure everything runs smoothly, right? Of course, is there is there hopes and dreams of me and Payne? Not so much Tommy. Tommy wants to manage in the worst way. But is there aspirations for me and Payne to want to wrestle on this show? Of course there is, man. I haven't wrestled in an actual match since 2016, right? So it's been 8 years, right? I don't count the Rumble spot I had with Josh where I tossed his ass into the third row and then he came back and tossed me out. But we don't talk about that. But what I will say is, yeah, of course me and Payne want to wrestle on this show. Of course we want to do battle with two other guys or maybe even battle each other. I don't know, right? But I also don't want to be that promoter. I've seen it too many times. Why is the promoter the first guy on the poster? Why is the promoter dead center on the poster? It ain't about you. You know, it ain't about me and us. It's about the workers. It's about the guys that could deliver a high-quality match. It's about the passion that we have behind the scenes. Do I possibly say I'll never wrestle for my own promotion? No, of course. I'm going to do that. There's 100% possibility of me getting back in the ring. 101%. But for this first show, I want it to be amazing. You're not going to get somebody who hasn't wrestled in 8 years come out there and do his little shtick and spear somebody and go home and say, I'm the hero. It's not my style. Like, not anymore. 2012, 2013, Dave, yeah, he probably would have said, like, why the fuck am I not booked, right? But there's been a lot of people that have hit us up. They want to be involved in the show. I understand that. We understand that wholeheartedly. There's only so much room. I'm well aware that this is going to be a once. I can't say once because the discussions with Tiki Bar, Martell's Tiki Bar in Point Pleasant, the discussion was that if this thing slaps like we think it's going to, it could become a yearly event. You know, it could absolutely become a yearly event. Where are we going next after this? I don't know yet. That's not on our radar. The radar is now March 22nd. The radar is potentially on 80s Wrestling Con. There's potential at 90s Wrestling Con, all with Tommy Fierro and possibly more showcase matches. And then the big grand slam daddy of them all, the War on the Shore. So that's kind of where we're at with this. Listen, there's nothing that makes me happier than you guys hitting us up and not even looking for a booking. There's some people that are straight ruthless and will just be like, hey, congratulations. By the way, I'm available. It's like, okay, but there are people that have said really, really kind words to me, Payne, and Tommy about this venture that aren't looking for a handout, that aren't looking for a booking. And those are the guys that will probably ultimately be booked because they're not down our throats saying like, I would bring this, I would do this, I would do that. There's a couple guys that have hit me up that I don't want to say zero intent, but there was discussions already internally between the three of us of who do we want, who would draw, who's the big dog down here on the Jersey Shore. And if you want to add the pieces together and start thinking to yourself, like, I wonder who he's talking about. I got hit up, and I'm like, did not expect to hear from you. I didn't. I expected to reach out to you eventually, but there is interest here. There's people that want to be a part of this, big named guys that want to be a part of this. And I think those are the guys that I'm willing to work with. The ones that are sending me just straight up, resumes and then the referees and ring announcers. I mean, it's not disrespectful because I used to be that guy. I wanted to ring announce for as many companies as possible at one point, but I kind of stuck to what I knew with WrestlePro, and I really didn't spread my wings too much. I've had my stint with TNA, I don't know, being Bound for Glory, I don't know. No, but like on the real, like I know that feeling of wanting to be a part of something big, and there's these shows that come up. It's very the independent wrestlers become cookie cutter. It's become like every show poster, except for WrestlePro, because I think they do a better job. But like the pyramid of wrestlers, right? There's one on top. There's two. There's three. There's four. There's six. There's seven. And it's just like a smorgasbord of the who's who. Where are they running? Oh, the gym. This gym over here. Cool. Or this VFW. And again, not knocking those guys. We just want to be a little different. Am I saying we're never going to run in the VFW? Am I saying we're never going to run in the big-ass gymnasium? No, I'm not saying that because 9 times out of 10, or chances are, yeah, we're going to be there. But this first show is our baby. It's going to be a complete banger, okay? We're excited about this stuff. I know that everybody's been, like I said, they're waiting to see what develops. I can tell you right now, just off the top of my head, it's on my phone somewhere, but we have like a list of 25 people that we're interested in. But if you think about it, probably like 16 to 18 guys and girls are going to be used. So there are going to be people that were like, we'll catch you next time. And that might piss some people off. But you know what? If you're a pro, you'll understand that there's not enough room for everybody. I don't want to have some fucking War on the Shore battle royal. Am I ruling it out? No, I'm not ruling it out. But I will say that shit gets expensive because we're bringing in top quality people. You know, we're not bringing in the guy that says, hey, I'm from Manalapan, and I trained here, and here's my photos, and the photos are just him in like a fucking John Cena t-shirt. You know what I mean? It's like, look, man, respect to the craft, respect that you're doing this for yourself, but for this event, it ain't it, right? And again, I am not the Mean Girls guy. You can't sit here or seats taken, right? I'm not that guy, and I will never be that person. But I will say we will be narrowing this down, and we will bring you the top-notch guys that we think will deliver every single match. There will be no popcorn match. There will be no match that you get up and go to the bathroom. You know, you're on the beach. Might as well just lift your leg, right? No. But, like, it's going to be great. There's going to be 2 rows of seating, and the rest is going to be standing room only, right? Standing room only. That means you're going to be standing on the sand watching these dudes and girls go nuts and have themselves a classic event. I can't wait for it. It's the biggest risk I've ever taken. It's the biggest risk that those 2 guys have ever taken. We kind of like announced it, and I made the hype video, and you know, we all text. We have obviously the group text, and we're just like, hey, anybody else throw up? You know, anybody else shitting themselves right now that this is real? Because it is. It's real. It's happening. July the 16th, 2024, the War on the Shore. Now, I would be remiss if I said that producer Shay, in the kindness of her heart, she had no idea this was going to happen. I didn't find out until this morning that Tommy wasn't going to be here. I already knew that Payne was going to be here. So Shay did do her notes. By the time these guys get back next week, a lot of this stuff will be kind of over and done with. So I'll touch on a few things, starting with the retirement of Sting. Darby Allin, you are a maniac. I wish you well. I hope that you just live long, right? Like, that spot with the glass and everything like that. My God, man. My God, right? Like, but Sting in his final match, I watched the entrance, the pageantry, the throwback to the Surfer Sting and the Wolfpack Sting, and just all and obviously current Sting. It was awesome. AEW did a fantastic job delivering the final match for Sting. Kudos to Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, who are actually able to make mention of this on Monday Night Raw. That goes to show you guys, before anybody gets crazy, that there is no threat. There is no competition. It's just there's one company and there's another one, and everybody should be rooting for each other, right? Because the more wrestling, the better. TNA, I hope they fucking blow up. I saw their new belt. Looks awesome. We just had a Mount Rushmore of belts last week. The new TNA World Heavyweight Championship looks dope. I hope TNA blows up in the best way possible, not like actually explodes. But the Sting match, fantastic. I did see some of the other matches. I can't say I saw them all. I do respect the crowd that was there. Sold out crowd. Just excellent delivery. To hear stories of people working with Sting, whether professionally or just being a fan, it all just was great. The tribute video they had for him, fantastic work by their production and editing team, because I was welling up. I was at my dad's, I was watching, I was like, oh, all right. You know, like, but that's what pro wrestling will do to you, right? That's why I think, and The Rock said this best, pro wrestling is cool again. And that's why Fight Factory Wrestling all of a sudden is striking while the iron's hot, because pro wrestling is cool again, right? And listen, do I think The Rock made pro wrestling cool again? I think he had a pretty big role in it, right? I think that this whole thing got people going absolutely bonkers, right? My first broadcasting teacher ever, dear good friend of mine, Dave LaGreca, is being called out by The Rock, right? And it's great because I know LaGreca and I know how passionate he is. I was just at his laminated listing in the Gramercy Theater in New York. I was there, and you heard it in his voice, and you heard it from Bully. You heard it from Mark Henry, Tommy Dreamer, Tasha, everybody that was involved there, Sam Roberts. Wrestling is, it's like I don't want to call it a cult because that's not the right word. It's a beautiful thing, right? Pro wrestling is a beautiful thing. And I've tried on a personal level. I've tried to compete in the ring. I was not the greatest, right? I had a couple really cool matches, really cool like moments, right? Fine, right? That's all well and good. It's not for everybody in the ring, but man, oh man, as a fan, pro wrestling has delivered my entire life. And if I knew something from a young age, as I get older now, I see that, and I said this to myself. You know, I've wrote for USA Today for the Cowboys Wire. I did that. I worked for Blogging the Boys to write for the Cowboys. I worked at SiriusXM. I got promoted to be SiriusXM's producer for NFL. I've worked at MLB. I've worked at all these. I've had so many jobs, and then of course wrestling came along, and you know you're still doing these jobs here and there. But to me, I said it to myself the other day. It was always pro wrestling. It was always going to be pro wrestling for me. I don't know in what capacity, and maybe now even I leave my legacy with this, with Fight Factory Wrestling. I have no idea. We'll see. But yeah, Sting's last match, incredible. I'm just going off the notes here. Roderick Strong, he's the new international champion. Saw that. What else? Will Ospreay, he won his match. It was great. JR, Jim Ross, kudos to him. He's back. Samoa Joe, still your world champion. And of course, the Sting match was incredible. But yeah, just AEW has definitely turned a little bit of a corner for me. I'm not listening to Tommy or anybody else. AEW has decent programming right now. They are striking while the iron's hot. I believe in that company. I believe in the executives that are behind the scenes to make this thing a success. Go. Just keep going. I can't stress that enough. Just ride that momentum till the fucking wheels fall off. The Rock came out, did the whole thing on SmackDown, right? Everybody's like, oh, he did the L again. No, just like, can we not? Can we, like, look, it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. I truly think that Rock and Roman win on night one. Then you're like, oh, shit. I guess it's all bets are off, you know? Oh, no. And then The Rock's going to help Cody win. And then sets up SummerSlam, which was rumored now to be in Cleveland, Ohio, to possibly be Roman and Rock. Right? Like that's kind of where we're at with that. We'll see. Obviously, WrestleMania is going to supply some fantastic memories. I find out tomorrow about something very, very big. I can't even release that yet. But I will be at WrestleCon, WrestleMania weekend. Me, Josh Chernoff, Payne, and Tommy, and Shay will be there. Producer Shay will come down to Philly for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you're in the area and you're here for WrestleMania, come to our booth. We're going to show you all about the new Premier Wrestling app, which launches at the Squared Circle Expo the week before that. So lots in store for Premier Wrestling, including, another business that I might own. But anyway, or at least be in part of the ownership group. So then Raw comes up. Seth and Cody do their thing. Very juvenile, calling The Rock Diarrhea Dwayne. Like, it's like, oh, Diarrhea Dwayne. It's like calling like Gus Bus. Like, it's just so, I don't know. It's kind of silly. Gunther beat the shit out of Dom Dom. We saw that. Looks like Liv Morgan's trying to get involved. I think that we're leaning towards not a one-on-one match for that for Rhea's title. I think that there's going to be a little bit more involved. Nia Jax just won't go away. Liv now is involved. You're going to have other people involved. Maybe there's something else. The Intercontinental Championship match is going to be great. Gunther's going to take on the winner of a gauntlet match that goes down on Monday. Crossing fingers, it's Chad Gable. I've been a Chad Gable supporter for a while. We'll see who it is. I'm going to lean Sami Zayn here. Payne's not a big fan of him. Thinks he's doing a lot of complaining and, wow, I want to be there. I want my moment. You know, like everybody wants their fucking moment. Just like everybody wants on War at the Shore, right? Like, it can't happen like that. Andrade came out, did his thing against Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews I haven't seen in I can't even tell you how long it's been. It feels like it's been a while. And then, of course, at the end, Drew McIntyre beat up Jey Uso. I'll just look at the notes real quick before we head to commercial. Let's see. What did Shay put? Another death as Paul Vachon passed away this week. Not fun. Obviously, we're getting older. Me, everybody else in the wrestling world are getting older. So you can imagine the guys who grew up with, they're going to start dropping. You know what I mean? Like it's just the time is undefeated. But it's sad to see. But on the good news of things, Paul Heyman will be inducted into the 2024 Hall of Fame, along with Bull Nakano. Oh, my God. And I'm pretty sure Bull Nakano was in that movie, Stay Tuned. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, Paul Heyman in the Hall of Fame. Cannot wait for that speech. People are wondering who's going to induct him. If I had to choose, Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer. Who else worked side by side with Paul E. those years of doing merch in his mom's basement and all, just running this promotion just so ragtag, right? I thought about Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's not even involved in WrestleMania yet, right? Then there's also rumors of Stephanie McMahon. Somebody, I believe WWE television mentioned Brock Lesnar. So not to say Brock's a big talker or even allowed to be on TV at this point, but it kind of gives me okay, maybe they're starting to realize that Brock didn't have as much involvement as Vince. So maybe Brock can maybe start somewhat, kind of making his way back. But who knows? I digress. We'll see. And of course, Santana. Our boy Mike Santana has been released from AEW. His contract ran out. So it doesn't really he's not released. His contract ran out. He's on fire right now in the independents. So, keep going. I believe Homicide just, celebrated 30 years in the business. So he's been doing it. So he's only got another 30 to catch up to Dan Muff. And that's my joke for Muff. But yeah, anyway, that's pro wrestling in a nutshell. It's hard to discuss pro wrestling when I don't have my counterparts here. But let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we have the Ace of Space, LSG. He's talking about his match, his Silver Championship match at WrestlePro this Saturday at the Rawway Rec Center against none other than the grizzled vet himself, Sean Donovan. We'll be right back right after this.
You have a beard, huh? I'm not buying it until you buy
Madcat Beard Care.
I like this hat. I also like this beard care. That's why I'm teaming up with Madcat Beard Care.
It's one of my favorite products and smells.
A portion of the proceeds go back to save and rescue cats, which is pretty amazing.
Enjoy the products. They are absolutely amazing.
This premium beard oil, baby, oh yeah, you can only get it from where?
MadCatBeardCare.com to buy you some of the most delicious smelling beard products in the world. Delicious, Frisco bourbon. Good. You heard it. It's delicious. Frisco bourbon.
For real, I use this stuff every day. It's fantastic. I put it in my hair too, guys.
You want a beautiful, perfect beard like the Indie God? Pick up some Indie God beard care right now from Madcat.
Welcome back right here on the Fight Factory podcast, right here on Premier Wrestling, the Premier Wrestling YouTube, all that fun stuff. Make sure you follow us, subscribe, like, and everything you're supposed to do. I am finally joined after all these years of trying to get you here. Somehow, some way, so many other people have walked through this door, but I guess you just never wanted to come down here. But
don't put that on
you're
me.
so
Don't put
close.
that on me.
Ladies and gentlemen, LSG, the Ace of Space himself. How you doing, bro?
Pretty good, man. Life is good.
Life is good.
This place is awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate
This
that.
place is
There is
sick.
only a select amount of the boys that have come down here. And the girls. There have been, I think Nikki Duke did an episode here. Kevin's been here. Moff was here. I'm not supposed to say that because he likes kayfabe and shit, but Moff was here to do, he was here for Royal Rumble. He came. He marked out for that. And, yeah, so we've had some of the guys here. But I'm finally glad to get you here because I know this weekend, big weekend.
It's huge.
Can we just, rejoice that not only are we back at the Rawway Rec Center, but it's Saturday. It's not a Sunday. It's not a Friday afternoon. It's not a Thursday Shotgun show, which, by the way, this airs the same time as Shotgun is happening. Yeah. So right now, as you're watching this, LSG is probably getting his ass kicked. Are you even booked?
I'm not booked.
Okay, so you're saving your energy for this Saturday.
It's a student showcase tonight.
Oh, is it?
An opportunity to some of the Cap New Jersey, Cap New York, and actually some of Burger's Worldwide Dojo kids. So
Burger's Worldwide, so
more,
cheeseburger in the
student
building.
Showcase, free show.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So obviously you said life is good. Before we get into your match with the most miserable man on the planet, Sean Donovan, where the hell have you been? First of all, the world needs to know today on Thursday, has that piece of food been removed from the locker?
Oh my God!
What is that? I didn't see that from the jump, so I don't know what's happening.
All right, I'll give you the background on that.
Okay.
I am a member of Retro Fitness in Clark, New Jersey.
I knew it was Retro. I see the red lockers.
You see the red. I've been a member there for 7 years.
Okay.
And the quality of the gym has just gone straight to
little by little.
I'm
It's
not gonna
just
say the word.
deteriorating.
Yes, it's horrible. So I think like 3 weeks ago, I have this warm locker I just always use. It's in the corner, locker 51.
Okay.
I opened it, and there's a half-eaten like peanut butter sandwich in it. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, some broccoli head like teenage kid.
Oh, those broccoli
left it in
heads.
there. Yeah.
They're so much fun to lift around.
So and I'm like, all right, I'm not touching this thing. I'll go somewhere else. The next day, I open the locker and it's there again.
So just one day removed, and you're like, wow, I can't believe they didn't clean
I'm
this
like,
up.
All right, I guess the cleaning crew.
But bro,
wasn't
you're
there.
on day 20.
Dude, today was day 21.
21, my favorite number. 21.
21.
And they're still there.
It's still there.
So they're understaffed, or somebody's just really taking a small bite every
Dude,
day.
it's
They're
they're
gross.
just not doing their job. I used to work there.
That's
I
even
made
worse.
The place looked great.
Yeah,
when I was
immaculate.
working there.
And sandwiches would be
the
eaten
damn
in full.
sandwich is torturing me.
So, and it's haunting your being.
It's haunting me.
So, so besides that,
21 days.
yeah, that's first of all, it's phenomenal. So besides all that,
Yeah.
how has wrestling treated you lately? I mean, I know you're all over the place. You're literally flying abroad across the pond. You're all over the place. How is the career going? Because look, if anybody doesn't know who LSG is, shame on you first. But secondly, he's been everywhere. Ring of Honor, tag team with Cheeseburger. Like it was just your career has reached big heights already. How's it been lately?
Last year was pretty cool. I did a lot of great stuff. I finished a year with the 2-month tour in Germany. I went to
Nice.
wrestle in Germany, Netherlands, France for the first time.
How
which
is
was
that
cool.
like when you're wrestling on the independents in the States?
Yeah.
How is that in regards to like do these guys across the pond, do they just know a completely different style of wrestling?
It's
And,
so,
and do they speak English? Like are they
So-
able to communicate?
this is the thing. It's a lot more similar than we think it is.
Okay.
You walk into a locker room even 3,000 miles away, and it's the same as doing it here.
Okay.
And the thing is, a lot of guys there in Europe speak English,
Oh, good.
and they speak it well.
Oh,
So
even
it
better.
makes it-
Probably better than us.
It
to be
makes
honest
us
with
feel stupid.
you. Stupid Americans
They-
are back here. This is
Yeah,
bullshit.
they speak great English, and even the ones that are not so great with English, the wrestling is a universal language, like the suplex, and you're just talking about the match and planning the things. All the moves are the same.
Nice. Okay.
There's a lot of
Everybody's still grabbing the right. Are we getting up to your right and like
yeah,
grabbing? Okay,
that's
all
kind
that
of the
stuff.
Same.
All right, good.
It's that the common bond is wrestling. So
Have you made any
even-
like? This is gonna sound like I'm a parent. Like, have you made any friends? Like,
I've made a ton.
a lot of networking out there.
Honestly, like I have some friends over there in Germany that are some of my closest friends. I talk to them every single day.
Nice.
So I definitely plan on going back. I think I'm gonna be in Germany again in June.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe but only for like a week or two,
Mhm.
not like a month or two, and then I'll be back in the fall.
Okay. So
So that's been great.
now I know anybody watching this is probably wondering, like, well, why? If he's so good, why isn't he on TV? Right? Have you had any interactions with? Obviously, look, there's no secret. We're all Pat Buck guys. Pat Buck's down there. I'm sure Pat's phone rings off the hook for everybody. But has there been any communication between, if you're allowed to disclose, AEW, TNA, WWE, anything like that of any variation?
I mean, like a lot of the guys in independence, I have had opportunities at AEW, gotten to do some matches. I think I've done like
On the dark,
Probably like
right? And
10
like all
matches.
elevation dark and all that
I've
stuff.
done some of the ROH taping.
Oh, nice.
in
Okay.
Universal in Orlando. That was really cool. Especially because I went to Impact back in the day when I was a kid at the Impact Zone.
Oh, so it was
now
like
they tape it,
nostalgia.
right across.
That's so
the way
cool.
in different warehouses, different soundstage. So that was cool. So no, I mean, no real deep talks. I do have some cool things coming up.
Cool.
With two of the bigger promotions.
Nice.
Within the next month.
That's awesome.
So we'll see. I mean, everything's possible.
Health is good. You feeling
yeah.
good?
Oh yeah. I had to take a couple months off at the beginning of this year just to
Reset.
rehab, reset, refuel, and everything like that. But I feel great. I just got back at it last week, and this whole month of March is going to be insane.
Off to the races you go. So we're glad to have you back at WrestlePro, obviously. You've had this storied rivalry with this bitter son bitch known as Sean Donovan. He is now, for whatever reason, whoever books these shows, I have no idea.
Yeah, I
He's the silver champion out of nowhere. Okay, and I'm just like, whose idea was to give this fucking guy a belt? No, but Donovan's great.
Yep.
I just, where did this all start? Like, I know there was a little bit of WrestlePro Alaska stuff that was happening. I know there was dog collar matches. You guys were just at each other's throats, literally and figuratively. And now
So-
it kind of comes to a head.
I think we had our first one-on-one before the pandemic.
Okay.
I want to say the end of 2019. It's actually when he took the silver title from me in Rawway.
Ah, damn, he's a 2-time silver champion?
Yeah.
Piece of
So
shit.
he took it from me.
Uh-huh.
I never got a rematch. And then somehow our paths crossed in Alaska. And then those are 3 matches that I'm super proud of.
Listen,
And
say
they're
what you will about this
historic-
guy.
Yeah.
Donovan can go. He can go.
Oh, he can go.
He's a go.
That's
He's a
something
t-
I'll
he's-
I'll
yeah.
never dismiss him with that because he's unbelievably talented. I think we did 3 matches in Alaska. The first one was the dog collar match.
Okay.
It was the first ever dog collar match in Alaska
History.
history.
Look at that. History in the making.
Then
right
the second one was a Singapore cane match, the first ever in Alaskan history.
there. Just beating the shit out of each other. Okay.
And then the third one was the last man standing.
Can you imagine just
So-
getting on a plane and being like,
Oh
I'm
my
going to
God.
Alaska to wrestle, and you come back, you're just like half of a man that you were before because you had to do this specific match. So you're 3 wars deep, right?
Yes.
And now here you are out of nowhere. And I wasn't present for this, and I don't know how it happened. Apparently, Loverboy is his name. He all of a sudden is in this mix of somehow, some way. Look, Dark STG, we've seen the size of this guy. Yeah. We've seen what he did to Fala. We've seen what he did to poor Gino Guts. We've seen all this shit, and all of a sudden, Dark STG is on a tear.
Yeah.
How in the world did Sean Donovan pull this off? Where now all of a sudden he just beat the unbeatable.
I didn't see it for myself, but I know these days he's running with that crew with Moff.
Devastation Inc.
Devastation
Oh my
Inc.
dear good friends.
And the guy can't do anything on his own.
No, he can't.
And that's the difference between me and him. You know, on Saturday.
Well, some would say. Well, some would say. I mean,
I got my backup if I
I was
need
just
it,
gonna
but
say I was
I
playing
don't
devil's
need-
advocate, but you do have this the Space Academy, so
Of course.
If
These are
need
guys
be.
I'm guiding. I don't rely on them to win matches.
Fair.
You know, these are guys I hope one day surpass me. And like I root for them. I don't compete with them. I don't have ulterior motives. I don't use them. You know, these. Are
How
guys
is that?
I love them.
How
One
is
of-
the- yeah, I was
literally?
gonna-
It's my younger brother.
I was gonna say like
and
how
two
is
of the
the
students that I've helped train?
does that ever
So-
I mean, I can't imagine. Like your younger brother looks up
Yeah.
to you. I have a younger brother. He used to look up to me. Now it's just like, who's the real success, right? But like when he's looking at you and
Yeah.
he sees what you're doing, he's very gifted in his own right.
Oh, yeah.
You know, where do you see your brother in like 5 years right now?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's done so much already in the last 2 years. He's only been, I think he started training right after the pandemic and like the school.
Okay, so he's
opened.
relatively
So
new.
he's like maybe 2.5 years in. And he's doing so well. And I think his acting background helps him so much. He's incredible. On the
I didn't even know he had an acting background.
incredible on the microphone.
Oh,
he's
really?
he's an actor, and
Is
he
he
also
as good
is,
as me, or-
he's fluent in sign language, American Sign Language.
Shut
He
up.
He actually toured with the National Deaf Theater, so he's done like stage. He's done theater performances.
That's
all
incredible.
over the
I had no
country,
idea.
With ASL, so he's
Wow.
incredible. He's got incredible stage performance.
So he's got
stage
a
presence.
phenomenal background. All of a sudden, he's
Yeah.
super athletic, and he's
Yes.
jumping off the top rope
Yeah,
every so
and I
often.
think
It's like,
the thing is too, like he didn't. He trained a little bit when he was a teenager, and then he just recently got back into it. So he's got a fresh body. Like he's no
his
bumps,
bump
no
card,
bruises.
his bump card is not full.
Exactly.
It's not even the surface hasn't been scratched yet.
Yeah.
When you look at guys like Colton,
Yeah.
where do you see in him? Like, dude, every time I see this guy,
Dude,
he's getting
constant.
better and better.
Yes, he's getting better and better. His confidence is going through the roof. And what I love to see about Colton is that he's getting out there on his own now.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, like, you know, when you're coming up, you kind of ride with the veterans or you jump in a car with somebody. But now I'm seeing he's getting opportunities for himself. He's getting booked places without my help or without anyone's
I
help.
slid right into those
And he's
DMs.
great.
I did for Fight
And this
Factory
man
Wrestling.
slid
I
into
said,
his
Colton,
DMs.
my guy, you big son bitch, I need you. I need
He
you.
wanted that BBC, the Big Bad Colton. What?
It's not what it means. But yeah, well, I digress with all that. Yeah, no, I think I'll talk to you off the air
No,
about
he
it.
said BBC.
Yeah,
That's
well,
Big
you know
Bad
what?
Colton.
That's definitely what it is. And he's probably packing. Not like that either. So, whatever.
He's not. He never has merch. Like he never has his gear.
That's great.
Like packing, like what?
Some would say he's gifted. But outside of Colton, you also have GKM, who's also, dude,
Phoenix.
another one who is just like, man, Kofi Kingston has come a long way. You know what I'm saying? No, GKM is the man.
He might come after you for that.
Yeah,
he does not
dude.
like that.
Every time I see him, I'm like Kofi, you know, like. But no, he's one of those superstars. Slid right into his DMs. There is a certain quality of human being, and that goes so long to me. If you're a good dude, You know, and you're easy to work with, and you're responsive, and you don't want money. These people are easy to book. No, these guys are just very good dudes. But anyway, getting back to Sean Donovan, there's no stipulations on this one, right? It's just a straight up who's gonna out wrestle who. Yes. So then if on DraftKings and want to use the promo code, I don't know anything, bet on him because he's the better wrestler.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You should.
That's good though. I mean, look. Yeah. You've had all these, the hard hitting, whether it be the Singapore cane or the dog collar, and you beat the Christ out of each other for years and years and years. But now it's time to see who can go and who can last.
The guys whipped me with chains. He's put me through tacks.
God,
he's hit me with a cane.
Whose idea was that?
And honestly, none of it's put me down. Oh, it's Kevin's idea.
Yeah, it's always Kevin's idea. But it's like Gio. Wow, he looks to
LSG. You want to fly to Alaska 4,000 miles and get your ass whooped?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And by the way, when you fly back, you're going to be in a seat this big, and you're going to be so sore. But listen,
I mean, these are things that. I mean, it was hell.
You fucking signed up for this.
These are moments that you live for as a wrestler, like to go, like put yourself through that and like come out the other end. You learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's why, like now, you fast forward to 2024, and I know what I can put myself through. I know the pain I've gone through, and that's why I know he has no chance to beat me because look at all the things he's done to me, and it never put me down.
Yeah, no, listen,
and it's just made me better.
And it does suck knowing that he does have the likes of Trax and Benjamin and Moff and those guys. And I know your guys can hold their own too, because you guys have had some wars across from each other, whether it be a team thing, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, whatever the case may be. But it does suck knowing that Sean Donovan will not try to do this on his own. Like, you just won't. Like, I don't. No. This isn't a spoiler for anybody. I don't know how this is being booked, but I will tell you that Sean Donovan is just a conniving little shit.
I mean, any of our fans, if you come to a WrestlePro event, you see every single time there's a Devastation Incorporated match, the other guys are involved. Like, it's very, very rare. Like, where there's one,
unfortunate.
There's the other.
Right. Okay? Right.
Whether it's, the big gorilla, or
which you've had some countless battles with him as well.
One half of Love Train, or Peanut Butter Boy.
Butter Boy. Yeah,
one of the three is around. Okay, one of them will show up.
Comes off as a killer, and then he's like, "My sponsor's Butterfinger." I'm just like, "What are you doing?" But I digress with all of that. But listen, it's going to be a hell of a battle.
It is.
I'm excited about it. I know Rawway has just been craving WrestlePro to get back in there on a night that everybody's there. Like, it's a Saturday night. It seems very also, kudos to Kevin and Pat, mostly Kevin, because I know he does a lot of the booking now, but kudos to him for being heavily relying on the internal guys this time around.
That's one
and there is, listen, Serena Deeb is going to be in action. Like, we do have some names coming in, but it seems like it's very heavy our guys.
It is. I think that's a testament to what we've built over the years. You have our homegrown guys like Justin Carino or Fala, or there's just so many guys that you don't necessarily need to bring in a guy from TV to put on a banger of a show.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I firmly believe we have the best promotion in the state or in the Northeast. And the Rawway Rec Center is the mecca.
Yes, I went over this before the break.
This is the mecca of wrestling in New Jersey, okay? No other building. Rawway Rec Center is the mecca. It's where we've built our stars.
100%.
It's where our guys come 100% every single time we have an event. And I think I've got the utmost confidence. And then we have a ton of students, too, on the show.
Yeah.
Guys that me and Donovan have trained together are on the show. There's plenty of them.
Yeah, I've seen that. And you said that they have a showcase tonight with Shotgun Thursday night over there in Union. Yeah. But I will say, like, obviously, besides your match and, again, Serena Deeb putting the strap on the line as well, we might see some history on Saturday night. And by history, it could be on the good side of history or the bad side of history. Vargas has been on an absolute tear. The guy's an absolute monster. We've seen this for now almost close to a year, if not more than that, right? It's felt like it's been a long time.
Way too long.
Since the guy has been on an absolute tear, and now he's got Chris Robinson in his back pocket.
Yeah, but let's remember, how did he get the belt in the first place? He never beat me for it.
He did not.
He never pinned me. He never pinned Dion.
He did not.
He
did not. But
and
now,
I never got a rematch.
Yeah. Well, listen, the year is still young, right? So we'll see how you do. I mean, I know there is a #1 contenders match between Danny Moff and Dion Roosman. Why you're not in that?
Makes no sense.
I don't know, but maybe if you grab yourself a silver championship, we might be having next time LSG sitting in that chair, he could be double champ. You never know, right? But the wrong side of history that I don't want to be a part of, and again, this is just me speaking candidly, I've known Nick, Mr. CPA, for a very, very long time. And if he loses on Saturday night, it's it. It's a wrap. It is title versus career. And it stinks because every time I do see, he's always considered himself always a bridesmaid, never the bride, right? Like he's always that runner-up. He's always that he's on the cusp. He's right there, and then it just gets taken from him. Do you think he has any legitimate chance to walk out of Rawway as champion on Saturday night?
I think he does. I think he does.
I mean, look.
CPA has so much heart.
And a fighter's chance, right? Like a puncher's chance. Yeah, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
It's going to be...
I truly believe in him. I mean, I think what helps him too is, I know that last match with Vargas, if you heard the crowd at the rec center, it was unreal.
Yeah, and they were ready for it to happen then.
It felt like 10,000 people were in there.
It did. And Rawway is that does give the Rawway vibes that when you got a banger of a match, they're going to let you know it's a banger of a match. If you stink, they're also going to let you know they stink. So it's like, you got to be on the right side of history there. But yeah, that's another incredible match that I can't wait to see. But before we wrap it up, I guess, overall, what are your goals headed towards the rest of 24? We're only obviously 3 months in. You got this Saturday coming up, or a chance to become the silver champion. And who knows, sky's the limit. But do you have any specific goals, not just WrestlePro related, but when we're celebrating Christmas this year, right? What are you going to look back and say, I can't believe I did this?
Well, I mean, I definitely have aspirations to, get signed to a major contract somewhere for a television company. I feel like I'm the best I've ever been, and I think this is the time to showcase that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to waste any more time. I want to show the world what I can do. So that's definitely something on the bucket list. 2, I want to expand overseas again. I've done a lot in Germany. I plan to go back, but I want to do more in England.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to go to Japan.
I was just going to ask you if you've ever been to Japan.
Not yet, but that's definitely something that I have my eyes on.
You want to talk about wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it all starts, really.
I feel like I won't have that fulfillment in my career until I go there.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, I want to just keep elevating my group. Selfishly, I just want to see them succeed. I love to see them succeed.
You don't find that a lot. You don't find that a lot. Wrestling is I
love it.
Wrestling is it's a selfish business, right? Like you're in there for yourself. I've always believed, and I've always had the mindset of everybody could eat, right? Everybody can succeed in their own way, no matter where you are, what your rank is, how long you've been wrestling. Like if you could just root for everybody else, the world would be a much better place, right? So bravo and kudos to you for that, because not a lot of people are actually, able to say that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, look, I think the sky's the limit for you. I'd like to also just kind of tell you, keep July 16th open. Fight Factory Wrestling can use somebody like yourself, because again, we are looking for the best of the best. And if that's your goal right now is to be, and you feel like you're on the cusp of greatness, then we better get you now before you become way too expensive. So
Let's do it.
Again, congratulations. Obviously, good luck on Saturday night against Sean Donovan. There's not a soul on the planet except for Benjamin, Trax, and Moff that are rooting for Sean Donovan in this one. And listen, I know I'm a commentator and I'm just the guy that's supposed to provide what's happening. But my God, if that dude walks out of there with the silver championship,
that's not happening.
I'm going to be a very upset individual. So take care of business. Thank you for coming on the show. And so that'll do it for this episode of the Fight Factory podcast right here on Premier Wrestling. We want to thank LSG for coming in. He brought his handler as well to bring all of his bags. I know somebody's in here. He actually just said, hello. Okay. So that's just, somebody to carry his bags, get his coffee, stuff like that. So we want to thank him for coming on in. Be sure to like the video. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to follow Fight Factory Wrestling. And, of course, follow WrestlePro. We're about to deliver another banger of a show on Saturday night in Rawway. We will see you there for Dave Sturcho. That's LSG. We'll see you guys next time.